Good morning, boys and girls. We are on page 63, lesson 13, homework. And for the first problem, they asked you to solve and then draw a rectangular fraction model to show your thinking. I do want you to know how to solve for it. And the purpose of having the rectangular fraction model is so that you know what you're seeing and you're able to visualize what's going on to understand the concept. So right here we have half of one half of a cake. If it helps you to think about it, you can draw your cake. So I might draw my cake like that. And here's the cake. And someone might ask you, hey, can I have half of a cake? So first I would split it in half. And then again, I would split it in half again. So what they're actually asking you for isn't half of a cake, but half of the half cake. So this is half of the cake right here. And then to have half of it again would be 1/4 of the cake. So instead of saying 1/4 of the cake, they're asking you for half of half. That's what you're seeing right now. So you would get the same answer if you were to multiply. Remember that the word of means to multiply. So 1/2 of half is 1/2 times 1/2. 1 times 1, and I will highlight that so you can see it. 1 times 1 is equal to 1, and 2 times 2 is going to give me the answer of 4. And my final answer is 1/4. So if someone asks you for half of the half cake, they're asking you for 1/4 of a cake. Problem B, we have 1/3 of 1/2 of a cake. So that means that I'm multiplying 1/3 times 1/2. And remember that I told you earlier on that this is what they're asking for. So we have the cake that is cut in half, and they only want 1/3 of it. So this is the third that they're asking for. So if you count all of these pieces, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So your fraction will be 6 as your denominator because that's how many pieces you have in all. And your 1 is the shaded piece or the one piece that you have. So 1/3 times 1/2, I know that 1 times 1 is equal to 1, and 3 times 2 is equal to 6. Now problem number C, or problem letter C. At 1/4 of 1/2. So multiplying 1 times 1 is 1, and 4 times 2 is equal to 8. And that is my final answer. So I multiplied the top numbers to get 1, and I multiplied the bottom numbers to get 8. Problem 2, I have 1/2 times 1/5. 1 times 1 is 1, and 2 times 5 is 10. So I multiplied my bottom number to get 10. 2 times 5 is 10, and 1 times 1 is equal to 1. The next one I have here is 1/3 times 1/3. 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 3 is 9. So my numerator is going to be 1, and my denominator is going to be 9. You multiply straight across. Next, I have 1/4 times 1/3. 1 times 1 is equal to 1, and 4 times 3 is equal to 12. Remember that 1/4 is smaller than 1/3, and 1/12 is smaller than both 1/4 and 1/3. So that's why when you're looking at this cake problem, you do not get a bigger piece if you're asking for 1/2 of 1/2, because 1/4 is still smaller than 1/2. Okay, so I'm going to turn the page, and this is page 64. Please make sure you're on the right page. And the first question right here says, Noah mows 1/2 of his property and leaves the rest wild. He decides to use 1/5 of the wild area for a vegetable garden. What fraction of the property is used for the garden? Draw a picture to support your answer. So I'm picturing a person named Noah, who's a guy, and he is mowing the lawn. So you might see sometimes people go around and they mow the lawn to keep it nice and clean and neat for the neighborhood. So it looks like he's mowing grass probably, right? Not very good at drawing pictures. That's my lawn, my lawnmower right there. So Noah mows his property and he leaves the rest wild. So some of it is mowed and some of it is wild. So the part that is mowed is probably more straight. The wild part is probably like very high. So he decides to use 1/5 of the wild area for vegetables. And what fraction of the property is used for the garden? So the first thing I know is that we're using 1/2 of 1/5. So I'm multiplying 1/2 times 1/5. I know that 1 times 1 is equal to 1 and 2 times 5 is equal to 10. So 1/10 is going to be used for the garden. How do I know that? If I were to draw a picture, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I would have 10 pieces, and 5 of the pieces are shaded in. But remember, he only uses 1/5, 1/10 of that piece. So in reality, he only uses this piece right here. So it's only 1 out of 10 pieces that he actually uses. So 1/10 of the property is used for gardening. Problem number 3. Fawn plants 2/3 of the garden with vegetables. Her son plants the remainder of the garden. He decides to use 1/2 of his space to plant flowers, and the rest he plants herbs. What fraction of the entire garden is planted in flowers? So I'm going to picture this right here. Here is Fawn, and we know that she has a son, okay? And her son plants the remainder of the garden, but she already planted 2/3 of it. So she planted some, and then her son planted some, right? Now they're asking us what fraction of the entire garden is planted in flowers. Draw a picture to support your answer. So he uses half of his to plant flowers. She didn't have any flowers, so we're only considering his part, not hers. So we don't need to worry about her part. We need to worry about his part. So to figure that out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract. I'm subtracting 3 over 3, or 3/3, minus 2/3, because 2/3 is how much Fawn uses to plant hers. And I don't want to know how much she planted. I want to know how much her son planted. So he planted 1/3 of the rest of the garden, and 1/3 of his garden, half of it is going to be flowers. So I'm going to multiply 1/2 of 1/3. 1 times 1 is equal to 1, and 2 times 3 is equal to 6. So that means that 1/6 of the garden is planted in flowers. And as you can see here, only 1 of the 6 is being planted in gardens. There are 6 pieces, and 1 is how much he plants. For the last problem, I'm going to read it out loud. It says here, Diego eats 1/5 of a loaf of bread each day. On Tuesday, Diego eats 1/4 of the day's portion before lunch. What fraction of the whole loaf does Diego eat before lunch on Tuesday? Draw a rectangular fraction model to support your thinking. So we have 1/5 and we have 1/4. 1/4 of 1/5. So we're multiplying. We have 1 times 1, which is equal to 1, and 4 times 5, which is equal to 20. So Diego would be eating 1/20th of the whole loaf after lunch. And that is all for today. Please make sure you're going to tutoring or you are asking questions in class if you need help.